Now these will take anywhere from 7 to 14 days to germinate. Take some water and spray. Dang it. Well, that worked out well. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to make a quick video on planting some seeds. Starting to get the itch. It's almost the second week of February. We're starting on the second week, so I kind of try to gauge it as Valentine's Day. Makes it a little bit easier to remember. I like to start my seeds too early, and then I end up with Jumanji in the garage. Hopefully you'll find this helpful. If you have some seeds from Rusty Blue Bike Flower Farm, this is the video that you need to start any one of those seeds. So we'll get some soil moistened up and we'll get it going. I have tried the seed starting mixed in the past, tried using regular compost, using regular soil, using all combinations of it. But if you just have a regular potting mix that you use for your other plants, it may have some big debris in it that you want to get out of there. But for the most part, you can use that and maybe just add a little bit of extra drainage with some vermiculite or some seed starting mix that you have left over to kind of make it a little bit easier for those roots to get down in there. But for the most part, I think seed starting mix is probably a little overrated. It seems to dry out a lot faster from what I've seen. It doesn't take the water as well, and then you end up with your plants dying anyway. So this is how I do it, and we'll just go from there. And what I do is I sort through, have my little bucket handy here, and I get some of the bigger chunks out. Some of these you can break up a little bit smaller, and then you realize that they're actually pretty disintegrated, but some of them are a little bit harder. I like it a little bit wet to where it'll stick together a little bit, but then it still has some dry spots in the middle. You don't want to overwater them, especially when they're just starting to germinate, because you'll end up rotting the seeds in the soil. Been there, done that. I've seen a few bigger pieces as I'm mixing, so I'm just taking those out. And if you get it a little bit too wet, add some more soil into it and mix it up. If you get it a little bit too dry, then add a little bit more water. One thing that I have learned over the years is that if you plant 1 or 2 seeds per cell in like a 72 tray, not all of them are going to germinate. Not all of them are going to be exposed to the same kind of moisture. Sometimes, for whatever reason, the soil dries out, and then you have a bunch of cells that don't have anything in them. Try to start other seeds in it, and they're farther behind than the other ones. So what I normally do is I will start everything in one of the larger nursery pots, and then I will separate them out afterwards. Most flowers are real good about that. Maybe don't really care to be separated or have their roots messed with. But flowers I haven't had any problems with. So that's what I normally do. I'm going to do some celosia. And they are tiny, tiny, tiny. There's probably 30 seeds right there. And that's, I mean, they're so tiny. Rule of thumb for any seeds is the length of the seed determines how far in the ground you go. Well, with these, they actually need light to germinate. The smaller the seeds, the more light exposure they need whenever they're germinating. Celosia does like to be warm. It wants about 75 degrees. I am very fortunate to have a heated garage. When we built our house, we put floor heat in, and we put floor heat in the garage, so that makes it really nice. Normally when I pull out of the garage, my car says 70 degrees, so I know that it's a pretty, between 68 and 70, pretty constant temperature. But then I also have grow lights underneath the table that I'm working on. I do have a video on that, so I'll link that down below, or I'll link that in the description. The grow lights, being under the grow lights, also helps keep some of the heat in. Okay, I'm gonna make a tag as well. Now this is going to be probably a mix of celosia. This is out of my garden, and I had two different types of celosia. I always make sure to put a tag in before I put the seeds in, because you think you will remember, but you won't. There's my seeds that I harvested. We may go over some of that as well. And then I will just sprinkle all over. Now these will take anywhere from 7 to 14 days to germinate. Take some water and spray. Dang it. Well, that worked out well. I'm just going to leave it like that and see how it works. The camera got involved in planting. Now every day I do spray them on the top, just a light sprinkle if you have a regular mister like I have, or if you have just a spray bottle, that works well too. You just don't want the seeds to dry out in between. And I can actually show you some that have started germinating. I'm pretty proud of my eucalyptus, and maybe it's the type. I planted them right about a week ago, and I did the same thing. I sprinkled them on top, and then I mist them every day. And if you can see little teeny tiny starts, they just popped up. But this is the only ones that have popped up so far. So there's one there, and there's one little one there. I'll put the name of it on the screen. But that germinated before 7 days, because I think I did this on Tuesday, and today is Sunday, so it's less than 7 days. But I do have it under a lid, and I'm working on getting some raspberries growing from seed. They germinated pretty well and have really started taking off. They already have a first set of true leaves, most of them do. But they're underneath the lights as well. And I think that heat really helps. Not only just the lights, but the heat. So I also would show some zinnia seeds. Zinnia seeds are much bigger. They almost look like a shovel. If they're well formed, they look like a shovel. They do not need light to germinate. However, they are warm annuals, warm season annuals. So you want to keep them at a warm temperature. I will make my tag. And this was just part of the actual flower petal. So I just let that fall off. And then I just push them down into the ground, or into the soil. Just take the pointy end, just push them down. You do want to make sure that they make good contact with the soil. That's why I push them down. I will also put a little bit of soil on the top. Not a whole lot, because this is the, remember, this is the little bit heavier, like regular potting mix. You don't want them to have a really hard time pushing through a bunch of soil. If you just had a little handful of them, you could probably just sprinkle them on there. You wouldn't necessarily have to poke each one into the soil, and then just put some soil over the top of it. That's probably 5, 10, 15, maybe 15 seeds. Just sprinkle a little bit over the top. There we go. And now the other one that we have are our dahlia seeds. Set these to the side. Some of these are a little bit older. This one's from 2023. As you can see, you could collect several heads of seed and you think, oh, that's not very much seed. But when you actually start planting it, it's a lot. So dahlia seeds are about as long as the zinnias, but they're more straight, almost like a, some of them look like a little light bulb, a long light bulb, but not quite like a shovel. So there, like this one, or that one's more of a light bulb kind of a look. If you see this on the inside of that, may be a seed, and that's exactly what's there. I would imagine that these are going to, from what I've seen in the past, anywhere from 7 to 14 days. Pack it down pretty good. So I like to make sure to pack it down so that the soil is actually right at the holes. Because when you go to bottom water, then that soil will actually bring up the water from underneath, so you're not top watering anymore. That's probably quite a bit. So some of those smaller ones may not germinate, but they might. You just never know. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to sprinkle lightly on the top. And then to make sure that they make some good contact, I will tap down just a little bit. And this, of course, is going to be a mix. Now, all of these that germinate for the dahlias will, by the end of the summer, make tubers. So then you will have, if you like the flower, then you'll have that tuber that you can save and grow next year, and it'll be exactly like it. Now, if you take seed from that plant, it could be a mix of whatever the bee, whatever the bee pollinated. Now, if you take a bag and you bag over the flower before the bees get to it, then you should have some pretty pure seed. However, I did not bag any of these, and so these are all going to be, some sort of a mix. Making a video.
Am I interrupted?
It's alright. It's alright. Ta-da! So if you have any of the Rusty Blue Bike Flower Farm seeds, those are some of the ones that we'll have currently. I'm also got some amaranth that I may harvest some seed from, and I have some marigolds, like a lot of marigolds. Part of what we will have for this year, and we'll see what it grows into. Everybody, good luck growing, and I'm glad you stopped by the Rusty Blue Bike. I'm glad you stopped by Rusty Blue Bike Flower Farm. I should have made it more of a tongue twister, I guess. Everybody, have a great day.